What happens when an ordinary archaeologist discovers gates that don't just transport you across space, but through layers of society itself? You won't believe how Jack O'Donnell's first step through the shimmering portal turned his understanding of power and privilege upside down in the most unexpected way. The crimson sun of Zorg hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the ancient stone plaza where Jack O'Donnell stood, his boots crunching against centuries-old dust. As an interstellar archaeologist with 20 years of experience, he'd seen his share of mysterious artifacts, but nothing compared to these towering arches that pulsed with an otherworldly energy. The local chronicles called them the Gates of Ascension, though their true purpose remained shrouded in mystery. Jack's handheld scanner flickered erratically as he approached the central gate, its surface shimmering like liquid mercury despite the dry desert air. He couldn't shake the feeling that this discovery would redefine everything humanity understood about ancient civilizations. The air around the gate seemed to hum with a presence, almost alive, responding to Jack's proximity. His heart pounded in rhythm with the subtle vibrations emanating from the structure, each pulse sending ripples through the atmosphere. Years of studying similar phenomena told him these weren't mere transportation devices. Something far more complex lurked beneath their deceptively simple design. As he reached out to touch the cool metal surface, visions of countless civilizations flashed before his eyes, each one using these gates for purposes beyond mere travel. The implications were staggering, but just as he began processing this revelation, a sudden surge of energy forced him back. We've only scratched the surface of this extraordinary find, but trust me, what awaits is even more intense. Stay with us to witness how Jack's encounter with these mysterious portals will challenge everything he believes about society and human nature. The moment Jack stepped through the shimmering threshold, reality itself seemed to fracture and reform around him. Instead of emerging on another planet as expected, he found himself standing in the opulent penthouse of a corporate titan he'd read about in galactic business journals. The transformation was jarring. His worn field gear had morphed into a custom-tailored suit, and the weight of authority pressed upon his shoulders. Through the panoramic windows, the sprawling cityscape of New Terra stretched below, its neon lights painting the clouds in electric hues. For the first time in his life, Jack experienced the intoxicating power of ultimate influence, complete with a team of assistants awaiting his commands. As hours passed in this new reality, Jack discovered that every decision he made rippled through society with amplified consequences. A casual remark about environmental regulations sent stock markets tumbling, while an offhand suggestion about education reform sparked immediate legislative action. The responsibility was overwhelming, yet strangely addictive. He could see why those born into such positions rarely relinquished their hold on power. But when he attempted to return through the gate, the portal resisted, forcing him to confront the possibility that these transitions required more than physical movement. They demanded personal evolution. We're reaching the tipping point. What happens next will completely upend everything you think you know about social mobility and personal identity. You can't afford to miss the shocking turn this story takes. Jack's initial shock transformed into methodical investigation as he began documenting the gate's behavior. Each crossing revealed new patterns. Sometimes he emerged as a skilled artisan in a thriving space station colony, other times as a maintenance worker aboard an interstellar freighter. The transitions weren't random. Subtle choices during each experience seemed to influence his next destination. He kept detailed records, noting how small acts of kindness or moments of selfishness altered his path through society's strata. The gates appeared to respond to deeper qualities than mere physical movement, assessing something fundamental about character and intention. The physical toll of these crossings became apparent as Jack noticed his reflection changing subtly with each transition. Lines of hardship etched themselves into his face after particularly challenging experiences, while moments of genuine connection seemed to rejuvenate him. His body bore the marks of lives lived fully, each version of himself contributing to the whole. The gates weren't just transporting him. They were reshaping him, forcing growth through exposure to diverse perspectives and challenges. With each crossing, his understanding of privilege and struggle deepened, creating a complex tapestry of empathy and insight. Through meticulous observation, Jack identified distinct cycles in the gate's operation. Every seventh crossing brought him face to face with versions of people he'd encountered before, though their roles often inverted dramatically. The corporate titan from his first transition reappeared as a struggling entrepreneur, while a once powerless dockworker now commanded a fleet of starships. These recurring characters suggested the gates maintained some form of cosmic balance, redistributing influence and opportunity according to mysterious criteria. The realization struck him with sobering clarity. The gates operated on principles far beyond human comprehension, perhaps serving as instruments of universal justice. Each cycle brought increasingly complex scenarios, testing Jack's ability to navigate different social structures. He learned to recognize subtle markers indicating his position within each society, the way others addressed him, the opportunities presented, the constraints imposed. These markers evolved from obvious indicators like clothing and surroundings to more nuanced elements like body language and instinctive responses. The gate's true purpose began revealing itself not through dramatic revelations, but through these incremental lessons in perspective and consequence. Jack's growing mastery of the gates attracted unwanted attention. Powerful figures across various realities began tracking his movements, recognizing the potential threat posed by someone who could traverse social boundaries at will. Shadowy organizations deployed agents to intercept him at key moments, attempting to harness the gate's power for their own agendas. Some sought to control access, others aimed to destroy the portals entirely, fearing the disruption they represented to established power structures. Jack found himself caught in a web of competing interests, each faction viewing him as either a valuable asset or a dangerous wild card. These encounters forced Jack to develop new strategies for survival. He learned to manipulate expectations, adopting personas that deflected suspicion while gathering intelligence. The gates responded to his increased awareness by presenting even more challenging scenarios, pushing him to refine his understanding of social dynamics. Each confrontation left its mark, both physically and mentally, as he accumulated scars and wisdom from countless conflicts. The stakes rose with each passing day, transforming his solo exploration into a high-stakes game of cat and mouse across multiple realities. As Jack delved deeper into the gate's mysteries, he uncovered evidence of an ancient network spanning multiple galaxies. Ruins on distant planets bore markings identical to those surrounding Zorg's gates, suggesting a civilization that had mastered not just space travel but social engineering on a cosmic scale. These discoveries led him to secret archives hidden within the fabric of various societies, repositories of knowledge protected by carefully constructed barriers that only revealed themselves to those deemed worthy. The scope of the project staggered his imagination. Entire star systems had been shaped by this technology's influence over millennia. His research revealed that the gates hadn't merely transported individuals. They had guided civilizations through critical developmental stages. Societies that embraced the gate's teachings flourished, developing sophisticated methods of conflict resolution and resource distribution. Those that rejected or misused the technology faced inevitable decline. The pattern repeated across species and cultures, suggesting universal principles governing social evolution. Jack realized he wasn't just exploring an ancient artifact. He was participating in an ongoing experiment in societal development. The cumulative effect of countless transitions began manifesting in unexpected ways. Jack noticed his memories from different lives bleeding together, creating a composite personality that drew strength from each experience. Skills acquired in one reality enhanced his capabilities in others, while emotional connections formed across dimensions created a complex web of relationships that defied conventional understanding. His consciousness expanded to accommodate multiple perspectives simultaneously, granting him insights that bordered on precognition. This evolution came at a cost. Moments of disorientation became more frequent as his mind struggled to reconcile conflicting identities. Simple decisions carried monumental weight, knowing their consequences would ripple through multiple realities. Yet this complexity also brought clarity. Patterns emerged where chaos had previously reigned, revealing fundamental truths about human nature and social organization. The gates had become more than tools for transportation. They served as catalysts for transcendence, pushing Jack toward a state of being that transcended individual existence. Jack's activities attracted allies from various realities, individuals who had glimpsed the gate's potential and recognized their revolutionary implications. Together, they formed a covert network dedicated to preserving and understanding the technology, operating in the shadows cast by those who sought to control it. Their meetings took place in transient spaces between transitions, brief windows of stability where information could be shared without detection. This resistance movement spanned social classes and species, united by the belief that the gates represented humanity's best chance at achieving true equality. Their efforts faced constant opposition from established powers determined to maintain the status quo. Agents infiltrated their ranks, spreading misinformation and sowing discord. Security measures grew increasingly sophisticated, forcing the group to develop elaborate protocols for communication and coordination. Yet their numbers continued to grow, drawn by the promise of a better future. Jack found himself leading this disparate coalition, his unique perspective making him uniquely qualified to bridge the gaps between different factions and forge a common purpose. Through the Resistance's combined efforts, Jack gained access to hidden chambers within the gates themselves, revealing their true architecture. Massive data crystals contain detailed records of every transition, every life touched by the technology's influence. These archives documented not just individual journeys but the evolution of entire civilizations, charting the rise and fall of social structures with mathematical precision. The scale of information overwhelmed traditional analysis methods, requiring new approaches to understanding. Advanced algorithms developed by the Resistance began identifying patterns that challenged fundamental assumptions about society. The gates operated according to principles that mirrored natural systems, ecosystems, weather patterns, celestial mechanics. Social mobility followed predictable cycles, influenced by factors that transcended individual choice or circumstance. This revelation suggested that free will might exist within parameters set by larger forces, a concept that both terrified and liberated those who grasped its implications. The gates weren't just tools for change. They were instruments of cosmic order. When shadowy forces launched a coordinated assault on gate sites across multiple realities, Jack faced his greatest challenge yet. The attack came simultaneously through every portal, threatening to collapse the entire network under the weight of synchronized aggression. As defenders scrambled to protect the technology, Jack realized the true nature of the gate's final test: leadership under extreme pressure. His decisions in this moment would determine not just his fate, but the future of countless civilizations connected through the ancient network. With seconds to spare, Jack orchestrated a countermeasure that leveraged the gate's fundamental properties. By synchronizing transitions across realities, he created a resonant frequency that disrupted the attacker's coordinated efforts. The maneuver required perfect timing and absolute trust in his understanding of the technology's capabilities. As the crisis peaked, the gates responded by elevating his consciousness to a higher plane of awareness, granting him a glimpse of the system's true purpose and his role within it. The experience fundamentally transformed his perception of reality and responsibility. In the aftermath of the assault, Jack worked tirelessly to restore faith in the gate system. Communities across realities viewed the near collapse as evidence of inherent instability, threatening to abandon the technology altogether. To rebuild confidence, he implemented transparent monitoring systems that allowed participants to track transitions and understand the gate's decision-making processes. These measures required negotiating complex agreements between skeptical factions, each demanding assurances that their interests would be protected. The process revealed unexpected allies among former adversaries, individuals who recognized the gate's potential for positive change despite their fears. Through careful diplomacy and demonstrated reliability, Jack forged new partnerships that strengthened the network's resilience. Regular demonstrations of the gate's benefits helped shift public perception, showcasing how properly managed transitions could solve long-standing social issues. Yet maintaining this delicate balance required constant vigilance and adaptability, as new challenges emerged daily. As stability returned, Jack turned his attention to expanding the gate network's reach. Ancient blueprints discovered in hidden archives suggested possibilities far beyond current implementations, hinting at technologies that could connect not just social strata but different temporal periods. Experimental modifications to existing portals yielded promising results, allowing brief glimpses into alternate timelines and potential futures. These breakthroughs open new avenues for research while raising profound ethical questions about manipulating time and causality. The expansion effort attracted brilliant minds from various disciplines, each contributing unique insights to the project. Physicists worked alongside sociologists, engineers collaborated with philosophers, creating a melting pot of innovation that accelerated progress exponentially. Jack found himself coordinating this diverse team, ensuring that technical advancements aligned with humanitarian considerations. The project's scope grew beyond anything he'd initially imagined, transforming from a study of ancient technology into a pioneering endeavor shaping the future of civilization. The gate's influence began manifesting in unexpected cultural expressions as different realities merged and interacted through regular transitions. Art forms previously isolated within specific social strata spread across boundaries, creating hybrid styles that reflected diverse influences. Music, literature, and visual arts evolved rapidly, incorporating elements from countless traditions while forging entirely new modes of expression. This cultural synthesis extended beyond entertainment, affecting everything from scientific methodology to philosophical discourse. Jack observed how these cross-pollinations accelerated innovation and understanding across societies. Problems once considered insurmountable yielded to collaborative approaches that combined perspectives from different realities. The gates had become more than conduits for personal transformation. They served as bridges for collective evolution, enabling humanity to transcend limitations imposed by isolation and specialization. This cultural revolution demonstrated the technology's true potential, proving that its impact extended far beyond individual experiences. Recognizing his own mortality, Jack initiated Project Continuum, a comprehensive framework for transferring knowledge and responsibility to future generations. The protocol included detailed documentation of every discovery, along with interactive training modules that adapted to each learner's background and capabilities. Specialized gates were designed to identify and prepare suitable candidates for leadership roles, ensuring the network's continuity while maintaining its core principles of equal access and opportunity. The selection process emphasized character over credentials, seeking individuals who demonstrated empathy, adaptability, and integrity across multiple realities. Candidates underwent rigorous testing that simulated various scenarios, preparing them for the complex challenges of managing such powerful technology. Jack personally mentored promising successors, sharing not just technical knowledge, but the profound understanding he'd gained through countless transitions. This mentorship program created a living legacy, guaranteeing that the gate's wisdom would continue evolving rather than stagnating. As Jack prepared to step back from active leadership, he reflected on the gate's transformative impact. What had begun as a simple archaeological discovery had evolved into a catalyst for unprecedented social evolution, touching countless lives across multiple realities. The technology continued expanding its influence, adapting to new challenges while maintaining its fundamental purpose of promoting understanding and equality. Its future remained unwritten, filled with infinite possibilities limited only by humanity's willingness to embrace change. Standing before the central gate on Zorg, now surrounded by representatives from countless realities working together in harmony, Jack felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The gates had taught him that true progress required more than technological advancement. It demanded personal growth, mutual understanding, and shared vision. As he watched new initiates take their first steps through the shimmering portals, he knew the journey was just beginning. The gates had changed not just locations or lives, but the very fabric of existence itself. Remember to subscribe for more mind-bending adventures that challenge our understanding of reality and society.